So I just wanted to come in here and rant a little bit about the current state of the CS grad market and wanted to share my experience and, maybe this will resonate with some of you and or maybe this won't. So about 18 months ago, I graduated with a computer science degree and a minor in math. I know that probably means nothing, but I thought I'd mention it anyways. And during my time in college, I actually managed to secure an internship pretty early on and worked on some AI machine learning pipelines during my time back in 2023. But graduating onto January 2025, it's, as I'm sure most of y'all are aware and have seen the headlines, one of the worst job markets for recent graduates. It is truly brutal out there. If you even try to use the cesspool that is LinkedIn, you will quickly lose all hope in your chances of getting a job, as you'll see every decent job that isn't paying nothing for an internship, which, by the way, would actually be pretty good for most of y'all, I know, is probably going to be either paying you nothing or, is probably cluttered with thousands of applicants. That's no joke, no exaggeration. So then you might say, well, have you tried doing LeetCode? Have you tried improving your resume? And, these are all the things that you'll always hear from every single Reddit post and YouTube video giving you advice out there of what to do. But the truth is, and don't be fooled, none of these people have any idea what they're talking about. Truthfully, if you get a job, it's not really there is no straightforward strategy, no engineering you can do to guarantee yourself a job. Simply, it comes down to luck. Now, of course, there are things you can do to improve your luck. Like you can do the 500 LeetCode problems, which is only beneficial to you if you actually get interviews. And then there is the real bottleneck for most of us, which is our resume. Let's talk about a resume for a little bit. The resume aspect of things, usually if you hear any advice on your resume, it will boil down to just lying, bro. Like if you aren't lying, making up internship experience, project experience, then chances that your resume even passes the ATS test is 0. And then there's the fact that most of the time, everybody is lying, but then if you actually manage to secure an interview, you're not going to be able to speak to that project. This happened to me actually a couple of times. I managed to get an interview at Amazon, and then, of course, not by lying, but by exaggerating the matter of fact, which I'm sure all of y'all are well aware of what I mean by this. But anyways, yeah. As soon as I reached the recruiter, she asked me how many users the application had, and I, of course, said that it stayed in beta testing, right? And then, the interview quickly ended after that. So it kind of feels like you're stuck right now. A lot of you might be trying your hardest to learn a full stack right now, learning your React or Python, front end, back end, system design, and all of these things are almost necessary today to even get looked at because everyone is putting that on their resume and everyone is lying. Everybody's LARPing. So you are left with only one choice, but to join them and LARP max, bro. That's what you got to do these days. You got to LARP max, okay? And here's another problem. The fact is, right now, there have been more layoffs than ever before in tech, which means that you're not just competing with recent graduates, you're competing with everyone else that's getting laid off. And these people actually have experience. So how do you expect to compete against someone that has actual experience when you are a recent unproven grad that went to a state school? Furthermore, when you're trying to actually create projects, most of the time, it's basically a waste of time to work on projects without using any sort of LLM or AI code editor. Why? Because it will take you an inconsiderable amount of time that is just not worth it. it's not really worth it at all, especially when everyone that has a job is already using AI. A friend that works at Meta told me that he hadn't written a line of code in the last 6 months, right? So, and we also hear that a lot of these interviews are being led as AI coding interviews, which is basically where you just go in and try to explain how to solve the problem generally and then actually just do all the coding with AI. So that's like a new skill set you have to build in and of itself. So yeah, I mean, I've tried all the LeetCoding, I've tried editing my resume hundreds of thousands of times, and even if I optimize for ATS and actually get in through the door, you're still probably not gonna pass the interview. Even if you pass the technicals, when you talk about your projects, it's just going to be very obvious that you made everything with AI, bro, and you had a zero user base. So what is left for us to do? You might be asking. If you went to a, mid school, and even if you went to a good school, chances are you probably won't secure FANG, especially these days. Unless you get really lucky and you manage to start securing internships early. If you're still in school, the only thing I can tell you is my biggest regret was not doing more internships. Compete for those internships, bro. Start applying early. Try to have your LinkedIn perfect and congruent and consistent with your resume. It has to be consistent. Your LinkedIn has to be exactly a copy of your resume. Try to reach out to recruiters. Do not try to spam messages to random people trying to ask them for a job. That doesn't work. And if anything, just kind of annoys everyone. I know some higher ups that have told me that they've received these messages and they hate it. So that strategy is kind of useless as well. To be honest, I have no idea where to go from here. I am not going to give up, but the situation is pretty bad. I've been living with my parents ever since I graduated, and living without an income is honestly brutal. I've managed to secure some freelance work here and there through major LARPing to friends and family, and that has kept me from going absolutely insane. But I can't live a life, and I think that's the main problem with a lot of us right now. Most of us can't start our lives because we are just stuck at home, not being able to do anything about the job market right now. And what are we left to do is to practice LeetCode every day. And you might read system design by watching Hello Interview, and you might be editing your resumes and applying to 5 different jobs every day. And, that's great and all. But to a certain extent, bro, when do we just stop and wonder if all of this is for anything? The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what applying in this market feels like right now. It feels like insanity. It feels like every single job application is not even getting looked at. And you're actually just wasting your miracle of a human being life that you have. Okay, you have a limited amount of time on this earth to lead a life of meaning or joy or happiness, whatever you desire, and you're wasting it telling yourself that one of these days, one of these applications is going to hit. If your conversion rate isn't even high enough, how do you expect to even pass the interviews? And you know what? Honestly, if you manage to land an interview, best of luck to you, bro, because you're probably competing with 10 other as qualified or more qualified candidates. So now I'm not trying to be super pessimistic here. If you can manage to secure internships early on, you will have a higher chance than most of the kids competing with you, bro. Really try to secure those internships. That's most of the time how you're going to land your full-time offer anyways, through the internship pipeline. So if you already graduated like me and didn't apply to many internships because you were busy working or studying or whatever have you, then it's not going to lie, it's going to be brutal for you right now. It's going to be absolutely brutal. And if you consider getting a different kind of job, like a part-time job, and then try to study CS, how likely are you to actually study CS when you get home from work, your Whataburger or McDonald's job, and you're busted after standing up all day? Like, how likely are you to actually focus and get some quality study time? So unless you live with your parents and you can like hone in, build projects that are meaningful and actually make a difference, or you get lucky and you actually manage to secure a user base, you're likely just wasting your time. So if I have any advice for anyone out there, is to just focus on building meaningful projects and just keep up your skill. Like at the end of the day, doing mass applying isn't really going to make a difference right now. But in the future, if things get better, then perhaps with a slim chance, you might actually manage to secure a job. That's just the state of reality right now. It sucks. I've heard that junior roles are recently picking up, so maybe things will get better from there. But we can't really live our lives hoping or speculating about the future being better for us. We have to live in the now and do things that get us through right now. So what can you do about this? Chances are the best alternative is to just go full freelance. Go full retard max and start your own AI SaaS and try to make some noise that way. Get on Twitter and just start, or X, I should say, and just start posting. Just start posting about your projects. Try to make friends. Try to get some recognition that way, and then maybe somebody will notice you. Or maybe a recruiter will go through your portfolio and notice you have a little bit of motion. Okay? So, but this strategy is only really viable if you have a lot of time in your hand. If you have a lot of time to spare and actually have energy to sit down and study and learn your stack and create meaningful projects. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be the main chokehold there. If you don't have your parents' support and you live on your own, then it's going to go slower for you. That's all I can say. But at the end of the day, I know this video has been very pessimistic, guys. That's just kind of how I'm feeling these days. But nonetheless, I won't give up, and neither should you. Okay? So there's only two cases that come out of this. Either you keep going and you land a job, or you keep going and don't. But what's the worst case scenario that you don't land a job is that you manage to learn skills under pressure for a very, very long time. And you did not see light at the end of the tunnel for a very long time before you decided to move on. If giving up now is going to result in the same consequences of you giving up in the future because you didn't land a job, then you might as well give it a shot, because you miss every shot you don't take. I know that sounds cliche, but I have to be honest with you. You only have one life, and if this is absolutely your dream and absolutely worth it, then there is no better course of action than to give it a shot. Anyways, guys, I hope I ended it in a good note for you guys. I'm really desperate these days. I don't see much hope, but the only rationale that I can think of is to just keep going, because I've already invested too much into this. And honestly, if AI gets good enough to replace me, it'll probably be good enough to replace everyone else I'm competing against soon enough. So, hey, maybe we'll get universal income or what have you. That's a video for another day. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed my commentary, and maybe I'll post more videos like this. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.